My children are concerned about the world they live in, inequalities and worker exploitation and animal welfare in the food industry and the sustainability of how we are living. My youngest came to me and said,
I want to be the nicest person in the world.
What do you mean by that? Do you want to make people around you happy, like give them presents and cake and that sort of thing?
I just really want to make things much better for people.
I recognized the younger me in these words. I wanted to make the world a better place, and when I expressed this, I felt that I wasn't taken seriously. I was disappointed in myself that I didn't know how to answer, as this struck me as a great ambition and one that I want to support. It is easy to be cynical and think that the answer is too complicated, but I have been asking myself, how does one go about doing the most good? It feels to me that over the years I have acquired bits and pieces of a puzzle, and after spending many long hours thinking about this, a picture started forming. I am not claiming originality, just trying to make sense of it all and suggest how these pieces may fit together. To be the nicest person in the world, we need to know what is nice, what a person or individual is really, and how the world functions. So let's tackle those. Watching a flock of birds, it is easy to believe that it is choreographed, yet no bird is controlling all the others. Every bird is following the same rules no matter where in the flock they are. The same is true for schools of fish turning, twisting, and forming sweeping, glinting shapes in the water. The herd behavior of wildebeests and the behavior of human societies are similar. Voids simulates the flocking behavior of birds. It is an example of emergent behavior and demonstrates how complex behavior arises from the interaction of individual agents following simple rules. The rules applied in the simplest Boyd's world are as follows. Separation, steer to avoid crowding local flockmates. Alignment, steer towards the average heading of local flockmates. Cohesion, steer to move towards the average position or the center of mass of local flockmates. Human behavior emerges in similar ways. The complex behavior of human societies emerge from root causes which fall into just three categories. Physical reality, the whole cosmic system of matter and energy of which Earth and humanity are but subsystems of the one universal system. Ego, the personal self-identity with a narrative past and future. This experience of being is a model. It's an internal image. Our conscious experience is a virtual self operating in a virtual reality. Myths, the social constructs that exist not in objective reality, but emerge from human interactions. Our ability to create world models shared by large numbers of individuals defines Homo sapiens. We are so good at playing make-believe that we have created a world where money and nations and corporations in the 7-day week are seen to be as real and inevitable as gravity. Determining exactly where the line is between our myths and physical reality is impossible, as our conscious experience mixes these together. It's like defining exactly where the shoreline is. The closer you look, the less clear it is. The shoreline is both sand and water and impossible to pinpoint. Much of what we think of as natural is make-believe, ideas shared by hundreds or thousands of people. We have collectively created social and economic and political systems. We fool ourselves into thinking that these systems are inevitable, permanent, and long-standing. They are not inevitable. Different systems can and will take their place. Our world and its systems are dynamic. They change over time. We can build many different futures depending on the myths we create together. The question we should, but rarely ask ourselves, is what do we want our reality to look like? For humanity to have a good future, we need systems from which emerges good outcomes. For me, a good system would generate dignity and respect for everyone, as well as treating animals and nature with appreciation and care, remaining in the Goldilocks zone, not producing too little so that we are not able to provide for everyone, nor using up too much so we don't exhaust resources, but just right, where things can carry on for generations to come. The world I live in is out of balance. We are using up resources faster than we can replace them, and at the same time fail to provide for everyone. It can be different. We could provide not just food, water, clothing, and shelter, but also sanitation, education, and healthcare to everyone in a sustainable way, if there was a collective priority of ours. The only relevant question is why this potential is so clearly insufficient to achieve the actions that truth implies. It seems that our collective dominant attitude is to preserve our everyday life and resist change. Every day, millions of people who care about animal welfare and worker exploitation and want to protect the environment buy food and goods that have negative impacts on these. They don't believe the images of happy animals on food products. A person might say, "What am I supposed to do?" Offer them a storyline and the talking points to reject changing, and they're willing to believe it, not because they believe the propaganda, but because it reconciles them with the reality of everyday life, the dominant myths about how the world works. These myths can and do change. Awareness is the first step to any change. For the whole group to change direction, it's not enough that one or two birds or fish or wildebeests or humans go. Lots need to go, and then they all go. How many are needed? Not all that many. It takes less than 5% of the fish to move in one direction at once for the entire school to follow. Human group behavior works the same way. Some studies have suggested that as little as 3.5% is sufficient when peaceful, violent campaigns are less successful. A small minority can change the world if they are connected to a bigger flock. Some studies suggest that roughly 25% of people need to take a stand before large-scale social change occurs. Bonding and bridging with others creates the feeling of being part of a group. If we can find myths that we all share, we can change the world. We don't need to develop the full, complex solutions, nor convince everyone. Understanding how complex behavior emerges from simple roots allows us to steer in the direction we wish to travel, like a boat sailing across an ocean, adapting as the winds change. The question we started with was, how does one go about being the nicest person in the world? How does one make things better for people? The biggest changes are brought about by changing the purpose of a system. To change the purpose takes awareness. I hope that some of this resonates with you. Please like, subscribe, and comment. Together, we can make the world a better place. In the next episode, I will examine universally shared morals and values that connect us all and try to define what good outcomes could look like.